How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? This is William. Think all of y'all know that by now, right? This is June 14th, 2025. Listen, y'all remember my last video when I was talking about this social worker, Crystal Forster, right? And y'all remember when she said that Michelle was not present at the visitation at the concerning my boys. And I told her that she was lying, and which she is lying. I'm gonna just show y'all a clip real quick to show y'all. Only person I can't make out in this picture is the social worker that was sitting at the desk with her, because I only got the glance of her arms, but not her body to see who it really was that was sitting there in the presence of my children and Michelle alone with them. So let me just give y'all a quick look at what I'm talking about here. Let me get it pulled up here real quick. Okay, here, I'm gonna turn this thing around so y'all can see. Okay, here we go. All right, look at this here, y'all. See, this the boy you see on the left, that's my son Isaiah, and then the boy you see on the right, that's my son YJ. Okay, and you see that lady in the back there sitting at the head of that table. Ooh, wait a minute. Let me zoom that thing. See, that's Michelle right there, y'all. I'm gonna blow it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Look at her. That's Michelle right there. My other three children's mother. So that Crystal Foster gonna tell me that, oh no, she just brought the kids up there to see the kids, and she was sitting outside in the lobby. But do that look like she's sitting outside in the lobby, y'all? Look at her. Sitting at the head of the table with both my sons right there. Right there, y'all. This is what Crystal Foster was lying about, talking about Michelle never been up there to the DSS to see to have any interference with my kids. And look at her, she's sitting at the head of the table. Now, if you see that woman arm right there to the right, y'all, I can't make out who that is. And I can't make out who that is over here to the right, y'all. I blow it up and still can't, but I know it's another woman, and I'm assuming it's a DSS worker that's sitting there along with Michelle, along there with my kids. So, and I told her that I got the picture to prove that y'all entertain with a woman that ain't got nothing to do with my kids, and got her sitting at the head of the table in the DSS building. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that go out because I got some other stuff. So let me just turn back around. Yes, y'all, see that? That's Michelle in the flesh at the head of that table, along with my boy that's not by her and one of my boys that's by her. So you see how evil the social workers is up there at DSS? You know what I'm saying? See, they won't do their kids like that, but they want to do somebody else's kids like that, because you know what? They get paid to treat the kids bad, to do all the stuff they ain't got no business doing. You know, that's what they get paid to do. I mean, no, they get paid, they're supposed to do abide by the laws in the state of North Carolina. And Michelle ain't had no business being there in that office, in that DSS building office, along with my child. She ain't had no business being there. When they had a case, you know, let me tell y'all something. Back here a while back, they had a case against her, and when she assaulted one of her kids, one of her twins, and did they bother by taking the rest of my kids and alerting me to what was going on or anything like that? Do you think they did that? They ain't did nothing. The only thing they did was ask me, well, you got any recommendation? Yeah, I got recommendation. Take my kids from that wicked woman. That's my recommendation. So I'm gonna go into some other stuff, y'all, because I'm gonna come back to y'all. Like I said, I got some more. Let me go back here and see. Let me go back here, you know, because I told y'all I'm gonna give y'all bits and I'm gonna give y'all clips of this conversation that I was having with this Miss Forster. Okay, let's go back here and find some stuff here, okay? All right, here we go. Okay, let's get out of that. Okay, let's go in here. Okay.
I said Miss Crystal Fulton is here, so she has allowed me to call you. So this is the so I don't think you met her yet, but she's ready to talk to you and tell you about what we're doing and that your rights have not been taken.
Yeah, my rights have been taken because they don't let me know any contacting me about anything they doing with y'all.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
So your rights have not
course I know that because, but it's terminated as far as y'all getting back to me and let me know what y'all doing with my kids. So y'all ain't doing none of that. Y'all ain't telling me the placement where y'all placing them at. Y'all ain't doing none of that. So basically, to me, y'all done already took my rights.
We've been emailing you monthly, as the contact that you told us to have with you is to email you. We have been emailing.
See, the contact that I told them to have with me, that was the judge ordered for to communicate through email. That judge ordered that. I ain't told them nothing. That was the judge did that.
Okay, so I haven't got no email from nobody
The
else.
bias
I got no
judge.
email stating what my
Make
kids
sure I
what they
keep
doing,
that out
what y'all
there.
placing, what doctors or what. I ain't got nothing from y'all saying none of that.
Okay, but we have reached out to you and you have not reached out to us. You did not
No,
come
and that's
to
another
us.
lie. They ain't reached out to me for nothing.
I'm not coming to court for a prejudice judge and for y'all to be up there lying. I don't know you in particular because I don't even know who you is. But Colin and the
You
other
know
girl,
exactly who I am.
I know who you are.
Yes, you know who I am.
Okay, was you in court?
I was in court, but I had y'all's case a few years ago.
You had a case on who a few years ago?
You and the kids.
You ain't had no case on me no few years ago.
Yes, I did. Got the blonde hair. You come and talk to me in my office.
Wait a minute, Crystal, the white girl?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I know who you is now. That's more, you know, yeah, exactly. You had a case against Michelle. You ain't have nothing on me because Michelle is the one that assaulted me and Michelle is the one that abused our kids. So you didn't have no case on me. I remember that as yesterday. And you are the one that hit my daughter when Michelle went to jail while I couldn't get my child. So
No, I didn't.
you didn't have no case on me because I sort of had got my child.
Nothing to do with that.
Well, whoever had something to do with it, you were the caseworker in
I
charge
didn't
back
have.
then.
Michelle placed that child wherever that child
Yeah,
was.
but you
at the
can't
time.
do that. I'm the daddy, and I had my child. I had a right to get my child when she was in jail.
You talked to the police, and the police did not take you over there. That's not anything to do with me or what I did or anything to do with
Well, anything, the whole system, the whole stuff was incorrect then. Michelle ended up assaulting me out there in the DSS parking lot. Y'all ain't do nothing about it. See, the whole thing, y'all been against me from the very start. But I know how to fight my battles, though. You know what I'm saying? Because, see, if my kid was under age where they were 2-3 years old back then I would put out a hell of a fight. But, see, my kid old enough, they got to understand what they doing is wrong. First, they lied to get y'all involved. That's the first thing they did. And the second thing they did, they got up and lied in front of the judge. So y'all ran with that. Y'all took them what they said and took my kids out of my home. You not in particular, but that, whatever that girl name is did. You know what I'm saying? She went solely. My kids was being rebellion. I told her that my kid was being rebellion, and then y'all gave them the leeway through their rebellions to take them out of my home when they wasn't not ever being abused at all, never. But they made lies up and consistently, and y'all went there. I mean, the workers that went for it, and that's personal. That won't protect my kids from me. That was personal.
Personal.
Because you don't take a child out of home on the personal. You want to get at me. That was personal. And then you let Michelle come and visit my kids against my wishes, against what I say.
Michelle hasn't visited the kids. The kids have visited the other kids. Michelle hasn't been back here.
Oh yeah, she have been back there. And I still got her pictures when she was back there sitting at the desk. I got the pictures in y'all DSS building. I got the pictures.
She hasn't been back here to see them.
It must be since then. Since I complained about it, y'all must have changed it. But
No, she has not been back. She's been in the lobby, but she has not been back
Heard
here.
she been in the lobby.
Michelle, I seen my other son by her, YJ, and Isaiah back there together. Michelle was sitting at the table. I got the pictures of it. The whole party pictures. I ain't gotta lie to me. If you just don't know, say you don't know, because she was there.
William and Isaiah were not in the room when
They
that.
was in the room because the picture, my son Isaiah and my son YJ by Michelle was at the front of the table. Michelle was sitting down at the top of the table, and I got those
See
pictures
how they
to prove it.
social service DSS
And
worker
y'all
that's
do
lying.
this building, and y'all didn't care nothing about nothing. See, I don't mind my kids seeing my other children, but I don't want that witch nowhere around my kids.
That's the only visit that I was aware of, and William just told me he hasn't seen her, so I didn't know anything about the rest
see,
of it.
But you might not know nothing about it. That's what I'm saying. If you don't know nothing about it, it's all right. When this first stuff hit the fan, that's when Michelle was visiting my kids down at that DSS building. So you may not have nothing to do with since you've been involved, you might can say that, but you can't say nothing if you wasn't involved at that time anyway.
But he wanted me to explain to you that your rights have not been terminated.
Yeah, but my son don't have to tell you to explain that to me. I know my rights hasn't been taken by law, but by what y'all doing, my rights is already taken. And by my grimy lawyer allowed this stuff to happen. So, yeah, by the law or the rights, my rights ain't taken. But as far as y'all keep me informed with what y'all doing, yes, because y'all ain't telling me that y'all placing my kids places that I don't know where they at. So y'all doing a whole lot of stuff that's against the North Carolina law. So, but just mind you, I just want to just mind you with this. I ain't never been a Florida over the last 5 years. I ain't been a resident of the state of North Carolina. So therefore, ain't no judge that has no jurisdiction. If anything, I got the jurisdiction to get my boys and bring them back to Florida, because I only took them to North Carolina to let them go to school up there for a little bit. But then all this stuff hit the fan while I'm in Florida, and then now my kids is up there. See, there's no case on me. Y'all making a case, but it ain't no case. And my kids help y'all make the case. That's like I told my son. You did it, so the DSS going off what y'all did. Isaiah, and Little Will know what he did. You sort of cleaned my yard up and didn't do it, and I took you out of basketball practice. I mean basketball. So that's the gist of what happened here. Ain't nothing else happened nowhere. Nothing. So he know what he did, and the lie and the truth ain't gonna never change.
That's right.
Never. And I want to go back before a prejudiced judge that used to be a guy that enlightened them, and that's up there automatically for y'all side. See, that's the whole thing about this situation. And I told my lawyer to get rid of that judge because I didn't want her to get me out of Richmond County, because I didn't want to come back to that courthouse. Period. Because the whole courthouse and the whole system, along with that DSS, is prejudiced against me.
So, if you want me to start emailing you or Taylor to emailing you more often, that's fine. We can do that, but you just haven't been responding, so we...
Well, you know, email talk about no case plan to me, because I'm not going to ever do no case plan with y'all, period. If anything boils down to anything, it's going to be Florida going to take the rule of my children. Y'all ain't going to have the rule, because I'm a resident of the state of Florida. So you ain't going to apply nothing to me that y'all ain't got the law right to apply to me. You understand? Because I know I'm a resident of Florida. I'm not a resident of North Carolina.
That's right.
All right, well, we'll try to make sure that you're kept in the loop better, but,
I'm trying to make sure I'm in the loop
you're
better.
refusing to
Listen
work
at
a
that.
case plan or come to court. My hands are kind of tied as to what I can do.
This man, as long as it's a judge that's not prejudiced against me, and not in that courtroom, that's right. I got every right not to come to that prejudiced place up there in North Carolina. I got every right, because I ain't ever been nothing but prejudice against ever since I ever been to court up there. And ain't no judge up there can try me in that case. That's the reason why I don't want nothing about Richmond County. Go somewhere, Mecklenburg County or somewhere where a judge is not prejudiced against what's going on and the lies that my kids have sold that y'all took and ran with it.
So you knew the judge that was there the last time, the one that was from like Wake County or
Yeah,
whatever?
that prejudiced white heifer judge, that's right. That's she's a prejudiced judge.
Biased judge.
And I told my lawyer that. And I told him I don't want to be back in front of her or in that courtroom again.
That's
They
right.
changed venue. They changed venue with my other cases, so I want them to change venue with that. But my doggone no good lawyer didn't do that.
That's right.
So I got full knowledge of everything about what's going on. I got my kids' school record. I got everything in Florida. When I first took them to North Carolina in September, they weren't even fully residents of North Carolina yet. But the judge made them residents. See, the North Carolina law says you ain't a resident of North Carolina till you there for a year. And in some cases, 6 months. So my kids ain't even been there 6 months, so how are they North Carolina resident when I'm in Florida? So, but you know what? The legal twist is this. Y'all do your legal twist to gain control over my kids and to keep control over my kids under false pretense. That's what it is. And that's a game changer for me right there, because I know it's personal. It's personal with Miss Collins, personal with anybody up there that's touching my kids, including yourself. Because I know what you did. I know what you did in the beginning with my daughter and my other 2 boys by Michelle. And you could have came out then and did your work correctly. And that jump went down with Michelle when it never went down, because I would have had my 3 kids from her evil butt. But see,
I did my job correctly, Mr. Well. I made sure that both homes were safe. The judge did the rest of it.
no, the judge did what you went off. Well, they went off of what you did. See, that's the whole thing. The judge went off of what y'all do.
The charge that you keep talking about, we didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
We had nothing to do with that. We didn't take that charge out. We didn't.
I ain't talking about taking the charge out. I ain't talking about nothing about the charge. The charge was the sheriff department. I'm talking about the process coming in my house after that jump when Michelle was the one that assaulted our kids out there in the DSS parking lot and assaulted me, but y'all failed to do anything about that. That's the part that I'm not talking about the charge. I'm talking about what y'all had an obligation to do is protect my children. Y'all didn't do that.
And I made sure that both homes were safe.
You know, when people wrong, they gonna always say they did something right. But you know, Krista, you was wrong because if you wasn't wrong, that situation that happened in the DSS parking lot, you would have handled that because you were the caseworker. You was a caseworker before that even happened. You were the caseworker when Michelle assaulted me up at Convenience Corner. That's when you became the caseworker.
Convenience Corner, I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, when that man, he was the first one that came in.
The night of the thing happened in the parking lot, I wasn't even here. I got assigned the case when I got back the next week.
Okay, and so all the evidence showed you that Michelle assaulted me and my kids, and you still didn't do that. You come in and talk my investigation. What you investigating me? I ain't hit my kid. I didn't hit her. I didn't do nothing. She the one that did all of the everything that was done, and she was the one found guilty for it. So, but yeah.
I'm just gonna bring this back to now.
Bring it back to now, Krista. I'll never forget that because you was a part of that, and you did that. And now you've been a part of my boys. Whatever reason.
I mean, I'm not gonna change your mind about what you think. That's fine. I'm just letting you know I did my job then. I'm trying to do my job.
No, you didn't do your job then. You can cancel that, but get on to what you're talking about now because you ain't gonna never convince me that you did your job then because you didn't. But get on to what you do. You dealing with my boys now, so get on to what you're saying now because what you ain't gonna have to do is y'all gonna work through Florida when this is all said and done because my kids.
To get the jurisdiction changed to Florida, then everything can be transferred there. But I don't have the power to do that. Only a judge or higher. I don't even know how you get transferred.
Let's fast forward. What is your position now? Because whatever y'all telling my kids, they can cancel that. Because they falsely taking out of my home. Y'all telling them not to call me, not to talk to me. Whoever doing that, y'all putting them up.
There was a court order.
I don't care what's a court order. I wasn't there to hear that. I wasn't there to hear no court order. You can't do stuff without the presence of me. But evidently y'all did.
No, and that's what I'm trying. You chose not to come to court. They heard the case anyway. The judge said no contact. We're just trying to go by what the court order said. That's all. We didn't say you guys couldn't have contact. We're just trying to tell them and you what the court order said.
No, man, my kid was so had to follow some rule, they ain't follow my rule. They went to y'all, the DSS, and lied just to get took out my home. I mean, come on. By now, y'all already dead. My kid done told the judge the same thing I'm telling you, that he lied. I mean, he wanted freedom from me. My kid told the judge the same exact thing. So now, how is this still going on when my son had already told the judge that what happened? He only did that so he could have freedom from me because I'm too hard on him. That's why he said he done it. They told the judge that.
And I keep trying to say that. But it's like they just still taking it out.
They called that going off of what you did in the first place to get out of my home. That's what they're going to do. They're going back to the beginning. You went there and told them that I did this and I did that, and that's what they sticking with. Now, when you changed it up, they just saying, well, you just changing it up, but we're going to believe him what he did in the first place. That's what I'm telling you. What you started is what they're going off of. That judge ain't heard nothing that you had to say as far as, well, daddy didn't do this, I didn't clean yard, I wanted to play, he took me from basketball game, and I got mad and upset. See, they ain't going for that. They going for what you did.
That's why I wish they can get another hearing so I can explain to that judge that the reason I keep trying to tell them that. I'm going to
tell you one thing. If I got anything to do with you won't go back in front of that judge, I can guarantee that, because I'm going to write that heifer up.
Exactly.
because she's a prejudiced judge.
Trying to tell that judge that everything was planned. Me and Isaiah kept talking about it and wanted to get away from my dad because we wanted freedom. He was too hard.
Okay, well, now, I'm gonna just stop right there, y'all, on that, to let y'all know. You heard my son there. Him and my son Isaiah, they playing to hurt their daddy. They playing. They've been planning this. Come to find out, they had been planning this. I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? I'm in Florida. I had no idea they planned to throw me up under the bus. But now you see, he said that right there in front of Krista Forster. He said that right in her office, right there in front of Christopher. I've been telling y'all that. I've been telling the judge that my dad ain't did nothing to me. We made that up so we could get out from under and away from him. You know, I mean, how simple can something get, y'all? How simple? And you see what DSS did. You see what they did. The workers that at DSS took my kids based on a lie. And you see how light skinned my kids are. And you don't see my kids ain't bruised and hurt nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So, them my oldest boy right there, 14, he telling them the same thing. He telling the DSS worker right there, he's saying they're not listening to him. And that's when I started telling him, son, what you and Isaiah started, and they've been wanting to get at me anyway, so y'all gave them the ammunition to get at me, even though it was a lie. Y'all did that. Now you got yourself in that system in North Carolina. So now, what you gonna do now? Oh, daddy, please, daddy. I'm gonna let y'all hear some more of me and my son talking now. I'll just let y'all hear that a little bit after, I'll let y'all hear the whole conversation between me and Miss Forster. And then I'll let y'all hear some of what my son was saying at the end. That he told the judge, he told the DSS workers, hey, my daddy ain't did nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? See, here's something simple, y'all. And simple don't never change. My son, I told him to clean my yard up. And he wouldn't do it. He refused to do it. So my punishment to him was, I'm taking you off the basketball team. Of course, he blew up. Yeah, he did. And of course, I put his butt on that floor. And I told the judge that too. You're a child of mine. You ain't gonna blow up at me. And I put his butt on that floor to let him know, I'm your daddy, buddy. You don't blow up at me. I done stripped you from your basketball because you didn't clean my yard like I told you to. So it's over. You ain't even playing no more basketball. It's over. So they took that, him and my other son, took that and ran with it. Ebony Jones. Gonna come take my kid without giving me any notification, no writing, nothing in writing from the DSS, Sheriff Department, anybody. Kidnap my boys, and along with the Sheriff Department, kidnap my boys. Didn't not make no knowledge to me about anything. Didn't hear nothing about court in over 2 months, about 3 months, y'all, from December to February. From December 2024 to February 2025. But the judge, Christopher Rue, got up there and said, well, I ain't gonna hear this case because you a conflict, but yet you signed paper for my kid to stay in DSS custody. See, this is the prejudice, y'all. You got a judge on one hand gonna say something, we a conflict, so I can't hear this case, but yet you gonna sign documentation for DSS to keep my kids in custody. Tell me if that ain't biased, y'all. Tell me that ain't biased. You sign them papers for them to stay in DSS custody, then you need to hear the case up there in front of you. Don't get up there and say now that you're prejudiced. I mean, don't get up there and say now that you're in conflict. You was in conflict when you signed them papers for DSS to keep my kids in custody. So now you're in conflict, so when I show up, now you're in conflict now, huh? No, if you weren't in conflict when you signed those papers, you're not in conflict with me standing up there in front of you in that courthouse. That's the prejudice, y'all. That's the prejudice. That's the bias judge that did that. And I told him, I said, you ain't never had no run-in with me, so you ain't in conflict with me. We ain't never had no situation where it make you a conflict with me. You made your own self a conflict. But even making your own self a conflict, you still signed those papers for DSS keep my children in custody. Look, I ain't got no documentation from that courthouse, from nobody, not even from my own lawyer, you know. I ain't got no documentation from nobody to this day of whatever or anything. And they certainly haven't sent nothing to Florida. So I don't got nothing. So I'm in the blind. You know, the ex-wicked wife of mine, know everything and doing everything. And then trying to protect her, even with my boys now. Trying to protect her, talking about she ain't been there visiting with my boy. Look at that. Y'all saw it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all seen her sitting at the head of the table. And one of them boys, the one that I told y'all was on the right, YJ, that's my son by her. My other son that was on the left, my son by another woman, and his mama, their mama dead. So when I tell me why she did that DS off, she ain't even supposed to know nothing about my case. Because she ain't nothing about her and my kids that connect in any kind of way. Other than she got 3 kids by me. That's the only thing that connect. As far as her, don't nothing connect. And DSS ain't got no business contacting her at all, consistent to my children, my 2 boys. DSS ain't got no business contacting, let alone have her sitting in the office with them. She don't supposed to know nothing about my case or anything consistent to my boys. She ain't supposed to know nothing. So why she sitting up there in the DSS office like, what is she? And then she gonna lie to me on the phone talking about she won't in there. Boy, that's why, you know what, y'all, that's the reason why I do what I do. That's why I get the latest cameras, I get the latest technology. So you know what, when they speaking to me, when they emailing me, if they email me, because like I said, she only got 1 email talking about some, starting a case plan. What case plan? Huh? What case plan? I don't know what you talking about. And of course I'm not gonna respond to that, but did they email me and say, well, Mr. Wall, your children is here, and we plan to move them here. We plan to do this. We plan to do that. They ain't in the same school. They here and there. They ain't email me none of that. Tell me none of that. But I got another topic to come back to y'all with, and I'm going to later on with the conversation between me and my son, I'm going to let y'all dip in and hear some of that, some stuff that he been really saying, and texts that he been texting me on to let me know, you know, even begging me. He sent me a text one time. He sent me a text the other day. Daddy, please, Daddy, you know, please. They broke up now. Then the DSS done broke them up. Both of my boys broke up. They ain't acknowledged that to me. Put one of my boys in a home, a group home, wherever. They ain't acknowledged none of this to me, y'all. All this information that I'm telling y'all is coming from my oldest son. See, now he realizing now, somewhat about what he did was wrong. And then now you can't undo what you did. I mean, you done did it, and now DSS and then took over and got my boys in the system falsely. A lie. And would y'all believe it? The same woman that was in between me and Michelle back in 2018 now she's a supervisor, not Krista Forster, and now she in the charge of my boys. She's a supervisor? Tell me, what did that sound like to y'all? She was a worker back then, and now she's a supervisor now, and she dealing with my boy now. Ain't that something, y'all? Put it together. What did you say? Dot the I's across the T's. What is her thing now? Everything worked to the good for me now, in my favor. Everything worked to my favor. Although it look bad, y'all, but it's gonna work in my favor. Watch what I tell y'all. Although it look bad, it works in my favor. It's gonna work in my favor. Just y'all watch and see how this thing gonna play out. You know what? This thing, hey, let me go ahead and let y'all go right now, and I'm gonna get back with y'all with another topic, and I'm gonna get back with y'all with some stuff concerning with me and my oldest boy. Okay? Thank y'all for listening in. Thank you for joining. Thank you.